Welcome to the Tyler Werner Show, discussing all the latest in Philadelphia sports.
Carson Wentz spoke once again to the media earlier this week as mini camps roll on here in the month of June. And the guy seems, very vanilla, if you will, as the guy who's got to be the leader of this football team. And it's not necessarily a knock on his character, because he seems like a very good guy. But when a guy like Fletcher Cox, for instance, misses all-season OTAs because he just had to have this island vacation, don't you want Carson Wentz to maybe just say a little something about that? Come on, Fletcher, we need you. And of course, the NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs roll on. NHL playoffs tied 2-2 with, for the most part, one-sided games. And of course, the NBA playoffs, the Cavaliers, it's just safe to say that the Golden State Warriors may be one of the greatest basketball teams ever assembled in the NBA. And it's showing because the Cavaliers, they just don't have enough to compete with this team.
And now, here's Tyler Werner.
And another edition of the Tyler Werner Show. We roll out here in the month of June already. As yes, indeed, the NBA and NHL playoffs, we're in the midst of them. And we're in the midst, of course, of some Eagles mini camps, which again, now this is the time where basically everybody's supposed to be there. You know, no island vacations that could have been taken any other time of the off season can be taken now. You know, everybody's there. That's supposed to be there. So it's good. You know, it's kind of. We're kind of getting there to football season in a sense. We're kind of over that halfway point between the end of the Super Bowl and the start of kickoff to the 2017 NFL regular season. We're getting there, and 2 months until preseason games begin starting. So, and then month and a half, July. Mid-July, late July, the training camp opens up, and we start getting down to the nitty-gritty with the NFL. But for now, we got mini camps. Now that, the non-mandatory OTAs are over, we're on to the next phase with the mini camps going on. And, of course, Carson Wentz spoke earlier this week. We'll play the press conference shortly and discuss. Because again, Phillies baseball, it's like they get 2 wins in a row against a mutt team, or earlier in the week, and it's like, oh my God, look, it's like they've suddenly resurrected themselves. They actually won 2 games in a row for the first time in, weeks maybe, as Phillies baseball has just kind of been droning on. It's been, unfortunately, worse than last year. Even at this time last year, I think they were still veering around a 500 record. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on that. But this season with the Phillies has just been more dreck than last year by far, and it's really not a good sign. So, again, that leaves us, for the most part, with Eagles football. Because, again, the NBA and NHL playoffs this time next week may very well be over. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow night, Game 5, Thursday, NHL playoffs. Well, as of this recording, as of the beginning of this show. We'll have an update late because tonight is Game 3 of the NBA playoffs, and later on the Tyler Werner Show, during the latter portion, we'll have a score. We'll have the update of that game, as it will have come and gone. And really, it's kind of last gas for LeBron James and this Cleveland Cavaliers team, who again, for the most part, has to be carried by LeBron James. What more? I know haters Haters are going to hate. You know, it's just the way it is.
Go ahead, hater.
When it comes to LeBron James, they don't like him for one reason. I mean, the guy's the best player in the game. He's one of the greatest NBA players of all time. He will go, you know, you can't really argue with that. Probably second to Jordan in my eyes. And I mean, it's like in the third quarter, he's getting a triple-double in game 2. I mean, it's like, what more do you want him to do? I mean, maybe at times, it's like he drives to the basket, and then instead of like going for a shot, maybe drawing a foul, it's like he dumps it back, and he could maybe play a little better in that regards, maybe a little more aggressively, you know, to his fault. But I mean, other than that, I mean, as the saying goes, numbers don't lie. I mean, it's like he's doing for the most part what he can. But this Golden State Warriors team, again, is just historically scary good, for crying out loud. I mean, one of the greatest NBA teams of all time. They just score at you in waves. And it's going to be, again, it's really going to be hard to argue against them not being maybe the greatest NBA team of all time if they just happen to plow right through this Cavaliers team, who, again, plowed right through the Eastern Conference, which is inferior to the West, of course. But, I mean, the Warriors, I mean, what, they only lost one game, I think, in the entire playoffs thus far? I mean, if they sweep this Cavaliers team, that's a 16-1 record in the NBA playoffs. And again, in a Western Conference that's at least superior to the East. That's scary good. That's a 16-1 record in the playoffs. I mean, that might be unprecedented. I mean, I have to go back in the stats, see if, you know, anybody else went through the playoffs like that, but that's a better winning percentage than in the regular season. Than anybody in the regular, even then better than their 73-9 finish last year in the regular season, when ultimately the Golden State Warriors came up short with a 3-1 lead over the Cavaliers in the finals, and ultimately losing with LeBron James and the Cavaliers last year, bringing them back from a 3-1 deficit, winning the last 3. But will anything like that happen this year? Well, first of all, I mean, it kind of hinges on whether or not the Cavaliers win Game 3. You know, as they bring it back to Cleveland on their home court, see what they can do. But then again, I don't know. I mean, this series could very well, in my eyes, end up 4-1. Even if the Cavaliers win this game, I mean, Warriors will probably wrap it up in the next 2 afterwards. That's just the way I see it. Now, the Cavaliers, they lose this game and they're down 3-0. Then I guess all you can say is, well, what if they outdo what they did last year and come back from a 3-0 deficit? But at that point, no, it's over. If they're down 3-0, I mean, come on. This is must-win for Cleveland Cavaliers. But the problem is they haven't really been competitive with the Golden State Warriors to begin with. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where Game 3, the Cavaliers just suddenly, you know, in a desperate situation, they were down 2-0, and they suddenly win by 30 points or whatever it was. Suddenly. So, you know, who knows? You know, it's one of those things where, to the Warriors, they just take somewhat of a night off in a sense. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, again, this Warriors team, they can score in waves with the addition of Kevin Durant. It's unheard of. And I know people, they want to say, you know, with the way the NBA is set up now and quote-unquote tanking. And I mean, it's not necessarily like the Warriors tanked. They just drafted well. You know, it's not like... I mean, Steph Curry was chosen 7th. I mean, some of their key players, they weren't chosen by winning the lottery and picking it 1, 2, or 3 every year for a few years. They just drafted really well at 7 and 8 and 11, and and they really cultivated a winner. And they bring Kevin Durant over here, this year, the addition, I mean, sometimes it just happens in the NBA. You just have a super team, and you're seeing it at its finest. Give them some credit. But then again, I mean, the way the NBA is set up, I mean, again, I can't fault the Sixers. All right, so let's get on to this Carson Wentz audio from Monday. We'll talk a little more playoffs then. As later we'll have an update. See how Game 3 pans out in the NBA playoffs. It's win or bust pretty much at this point for the Cavaliers. So Carson Wentz, again, addressing the media. It just seemed very vanilla. I don't know. And again, it's not a knock on Carson Wentz's character. But I don't know. It's just one of these things where it's like, as a fan, do you not want just a little more from Carson Wentz? A little more take command, in a sense. I don't know, maybe a little more urgency. As the franchise quarterback to be here. Or, it depends how you look at it, maybe the franchise quarterback already in your eyes. But the guy that you want to see take this team to the Super Bowl and win. And maybe multiple Super Bowls. Who knows? Let's hear Carson Wentz from Monday after off-season minicamp / OTAs.
Hey, Carson. So Frank was talking about your movement in the pocket and how much you've worked on that. Is that something that you made an effort to really work on, and where are you in that?
Yeah, you're always trying to get better with it. Pocket movement is huge. It's crucial, and knowing how to navigate it and just letting it be a feel thing and not actually visually seeing it. Till the day I'm done playing this game, I'll always just continually be trying to get better with that.
Some quarterbacks you've seen that you think are quite good at that. Do you have any that you've watched?
Everyone's different. Everyone's different. Some guys are more athletic and will really just escape the pocket. Other guys will really stay inside the pocket. I kind of want to do some of both. But yeah, every guy's kind of case by case, and just knowing how to navigate it. Like I mentioned, navigating it while still keeping your eyes downfield and just feeling it, letting it happen versus actually just looking at it. And then obviously downfield stuff is out the window if you do that.
Frank kind of talked about how much of that is taught and how much is innate. He said it was 50-50. How do you feel about it?
It's probably accurate. A lot of it is just a natural feel, like you said, and innate. But you can train that. You can train that. It's hard you can teach it a little bit, but it's really just training it and getting those reps and just really getting the feel for that, for sure.
How much more do you understand sort of the overall concepts of this offense? And some of your teammates have said you've been very aggressive, very vocal in helping. You've got a lot of new offensive players here, helping them get up to speed. Were you able to do that, say, in December and January of last year? Have you made a big leap over the off season, or what?
I think I definitely feel more comfortable with everything. That's what a year under your belt does for you. A year under your belt, and then also those game situations. So just coming in this off season, having a full off season to really go back and dissect the tape, study the concepts, more in depth, and knowing every detail about the concepts. Definitely don't have it mastered by any means, but definitely feel much more comfortable with it.
There's a bit more on your plate now, too, being year 2. I don't know if you had 100% of the playbook that, we consider the playbook to be one volume. I don't know if you had 100% of the playbook. In December, did you get more in the offseason? Will you be asked to do more?
I guess we'll find out. Right now it's still just OTAs, so we'll find out.
What did you know about Nick Foles before he came here? And have you stopped and read the story that's on the wall as you walk through there, the 7-touchdown story?
Yeah. And obviously I knew about the year he had when he was here. It was an impressive year for sure. And then I'd heard from a lot of guys, especially in this building, that he was just a great dude. He was a great dude.
Make some noise, come on!
We're very kind of like-minded off the field. And so the relationship we've had has been great. It's just started. It's just been about a couple months now. But I'm looking forward to working with him for the season for sure.
How's everyone doing?
I didn't read the article, no, but I mean, I know maybe I need to go do that.
Carson, how's he helped you so far? How has Nick kind of helped? Because he's been around.
Yeah, again, it's still OTAs, it's still early, but I think during the season is when his help will be really crucial. But just going through things together, both on the field and then off the field with this Philadelphia life. He's experienced it from as being a starter and everything, so he'll help me, navigate some of those things and just be a soundboard to just kind of bounce ideas back and forth with.
Do you feel like you worked through most of the mechanical issues that you wanted to, going into the offseason?
In terms of
just everything that you wanted to work on and footwork, anything.
I definitely feel like I got better. I definitely feel like I got better, and by no means am I where I want to be, but continuing just trying to get better every offseason. That's the goal of the offseason, to go find what your weaknesses are, or just overall just get more consistent with your game, and I feel like I did that.
You have very new receivers this year. It's a whole different group, really. In these drills, you're not really, when the practices, you're with the first team a lot. How do you get in sync with everybody, the rookies and everybody? What's the process like?
Yeah. It is a process. First and foremost, it is a process. You got to take advantage of every rep you get. Obviously in team drills and 7-on-7 drills, routes on air. Obviously, we're limited, outside of practice time to actually go outside and throw together. So those reps in practice are huge. This summer when we get together, that'll be huge. And then training camp, just continually refining that. And then also, off the field, we can come in and watch film and we can talk about, okay, this is what I saw. What did you feel? And again, like you first mentioned, it is still a process for sure.
How much work have you gotten with the two rookies, Gibson and Hollins, and what have you thought of them so far?
Yeah, a little bit of work. Obviously not a ton, but obviously routes on air and doing some different things, getting them in there where they can. They look good. They both can run, so I'm excited to just continue to build that relationship with those guys and really the rest of these guys as well.
Carson, when you talk to the new players here, they all talk about this time of year important chemistry. Are you starting to see things come together here a little bit? I know it's early, I know you said it's early, but are you starting to see things, guys are picking it up and getting it?
Yeah. I mean, again, still a process. Not trying to. We got. I think we're just under 100 days now until game one, so we still got to keep building this thing. But things are starting to click for a lot of guys. And one thing I love about the guys in that locker room and out on the field is just it's such a camaraderie between the offense and the defense. During special teams, everyone's we're all in this together, and I really have that feel. It's not you versus me, offense versus defense. It is in the competitive environments, but at the end of the day, we're all on one big team, and we're all just trying to get better together. And so that camaraderie makes it fun to go out there and practice and fun to go in that locker room.
I saw some of the deep ball on display with Torrey Smith in practice today. Is that an exciting element when you watch film kind of after he was acquired about what is possible between you two with the deep ball?
For sure. Torrey obviously brings a speed threat like that. He's shown it. He's got a track record for doing that. And so I'm definitely excited. It's something within our offense to just kind of figure out where we integrate that and how we go about it. There's definitely times last year where maybe I could have taken the shot and I didn't. There's times I took the shot when I shouldn't have. So it's just trying to get a feel for when it's appropriate to do that. But yes, Torrey brings an element there that is exciting.
He said that in the past he's sometimes thrown quarterbacks off because he doesn't look back when he's wanting to go road till it's time.
Yeah.
And is that like the kind of little idiosyncratic thing that you have to learn from about all these guys? Say, okay, he does it that way. He does this.
For sure. Every guy has their thing, especially guys like that have been around for a while now. So it's just working through those things. It's feeling them out. It's, okay, this is how you've been doing it. Let's tweak it and do this. And this is what I'm seeing. Again, a lot of the stuff is just off the field, just hashing it out type of thing. But there's definitely some things like that you got to just keep working through. But it's a fun process at the same time.
Carson, you made a play in practice today, far field. You rolled to your left and you threw it down the field, I think, for Alshon. Can you kind of go through that play, why you made the throw, what gave you the confidence that you could get the ball down there?
Yeah, it was kind of a broken play. It was a play-action pass, and I just didn't feel comfortable with the routes. They had it covered pretty well, so I just scrambled and made a play. Alshon had really good recognition to take it deep, while Torrey was already kind of in the intermediate area. So, I just felt confident in giving Alshon a chance, and felt confident that I could make the throw. So, obviously it worked out, but we got to see that hopefully on some Sundays.
Is your release quicker?
Hard to say. I guess we'd have to go time it. Is the only way to know. I feel that I've always had a quick release. I feel more efficient and smoother, which is everything from my footwork on all the way up. But maybe that's a science project to go get a stopwatch out there and figure that one out.
When you're talking about moving in the pocket, how long does it take when you get to a new level to know how long you can put that clock in your head when you know I can stay in here for this long versus I better get rid of the ball?
That's a good question. It's still working through that. You'll always be working through it. I mean, different plays. If it's a play-action pass, you got a little more time sometimes. Quick game, the clock's sped up a little bit because the linemen are obviously thinking, all right, he's going to get the ball out quicker, or it's a play-action pass he's going to hold on to. So these things going in. And then obviously when they bring pressure, all right, I got to really speed up versus drop eight. So it's a process for sure, but like I said, it's a feel thing.
Alshon has been a guy who's been very good on 50-50 balls. So it's very early, but are you kind of figuring that out, that he's the type of receiver that maybe?
For sure. Yeah, he's shown some flashes already. There's definitely some things that him and I both got to continually work and get on the same page with. But no doubt about it, you can already see. Obviously, we're limited in the competitive things we can do out there when the ball's in the air, obviously avoiding contact and everything during OTAs. But, he looks like a guy who can go up and get the ball, and I've already seen it.
Alrighty. So there's Carson Wentz earlier Monday at speaking after OTAs. Again, I mean, I don't know. Is he having fun out there? I don't know. He just seems a little monotone. Maybe he's not, I don't know, entirely comfortable with speaking to the media yet here with the NFL, but I don't know. This just seems a little vanilla. And again, it's one of those things like you wonder if is he having fun out there? I don't know. He spoke about Nick Foles a little bit too, which I thought was fun. It's like Foles is kind of like, I don't know, like a mentor in a way. After that, it had one of those things like his better days are behind. I mean, his kind of one-hit wonder year, I don't know, is something to be remembered here in that locker room, I guess. I don't know. And now he's kind of just like a mentor in a sense. He has more experience here in the NFL, but not necessarily the talent to be the starter, I guess. So, yeah, it's one of those things.
How's everyone doing?
All right, so we'll be back in the other. We'll talk a little more about this a little later in the Tyler Werner Show, as well as the NBA and NHL playoff. Well, more so the NBA playoffs, as we're kind of, until the Game 5 with the NHL playoffs Thursday night, where we'll really know which direction the series is going, who will be on the verge of winning it. Although, even if the Penguins lose Game 5, it's just one of those things. They lose 3 straight to the Predators. I usually see them coming back and winning the last 2 and winning the series. It's just kind of the pattern of this Penguins team. If their backs do, kind of get put against the wall. So it's the Tyler Werner Show. We'll be back after this.
#1 box office attraction, #1 WWE superstar, multi-time WWE champion, Brock Lesnar.
Time to revamp your office space, eh? Looking for an interior decorator? Look no further than Brock Lesnar.
Now that's the way a real man uses a sledgehammer.
Out with the old, in with the new. Give Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman a call.
Mr. Lesnar, you're the future of interior decorator.
I think we're done.
Hi there, I'm Hank Hill. Well, I'd like to tell you what Strickland can do to meet your energy needs. You see, at Strickland, the customer comes first. It's kind of interesting. The word customer begins with CU. Well, we don't see you as just another sale, but as a member of our team. I thought you might enjoy 7.5 gallons of pure premium propane. Strickland Propane, the customer comes first.
And we're back on the Tyler Werner Show. And it looks to me like these NBA Finals are pretty much over. You can stick a fork in them after Cleveland blew a lead late in the game and falled to the Golden State Warriors for the third game. They're down 3-0 now. And only scoring 19 points in the fourth quarter, Golden State beats them 118-113. And that's in my eyes, pretty much a wrap on the series. They're down 3-0 against this Golden State Warriors team. I don't know what more to say other than it's pretty much over at this point. LeBron James and Kyrie Irving playing 46 and 44 minutes respectively here. I mean, barely sitting out any time this game, as quite frankly it was a desperate situation for the Cavaliers to stay alive in this series, really, and that was pretty much it. Again, a late lead. Cleveland was up by a couple points for those who didn't watch the game, and they kind of blew it. I don't know what else you could say. Again, LeBron, 46 minutes, 39 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. And Kyrie Irving with 44 minutes, 38 points. It's almost another triple-double almost for LeBron James. I mean, what else do you want these guys to do? Kevin Love with his 37 minutes, 13 rebounds, only 9 points. And then J.R. Smith out there, 16 points in his 34 minutes. 1 rebound, no assists. Again, there's not much this Cavaliers team can do with just basically a two-man team in LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. That's the bottom line. I mean, this Warriors team is deep. They can score at will. I mean, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, 30 and 31 points respectively. Steph Curry with 26 points. And then some of their bench guys, at least, they can contribute somewhat. And in limited time, they can at least get out there and get you a few points. Cavaliers, it's not so much the case. So that's pretty much a wrap on that. See what happens in the NHL playoffs, as at least so far tied 2-2. That's actually a series. Although it's kind of hard to believe that really the only competitive game was Game 1 when the Predators were down 3-0, brought that game back, but then the Penguins just snatched it away from them and ended up winning 5-3. Other than that, it's been 4-1 Penguins, 5-1 Predators, 4-1 Predators. Non-competitive games. We'll see what happens Game 5 in the NHL playoffs. Again, Flyer fans, I know, do we want to see the Penguins win another Stanley Cup? No. I know I don't. It's just a further reminder that here the Penguins, they kind of have this dynasty going here, while the Flyers, 2 out of the last 3 years, don't even make the playoffs. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that series. And then, of course, the Predators winning. Be like, oh, yeah, by the way, a couple years ago when they fired Peter Laviolette, now he's over with Nashville, perhaps winning the Stanley Cup. And that's if they win the Stanley Cup. But I have a feeling that the Penguins are set for a bounce-back game here in Game 5. And could very well win that game. So we'll see what happens over in the NHL with that playoff series. Should be interesting. In other news, after DUI arrest, I guess a couple of weeks ago, Tiger Woods is back behind the wheel. Yeah, we talked last week about the whole DUI, but apparently Tiger Woods was back driving his black Mercedes SUV to a medical facility in Jupiter, figures, along with his 2 kids. The golfer, who was arrested again on Memorial Day weekend on his DUI charge, he showed a 0.00 blood alcohol level, and we talked last week about this. It was an unexpected reaction to prescribed medications. According to Florida law, this is where it gets, kind of weird. In a first offense DUI case, the cops normally take the license, send it to the DMV, and then the citation acts as a temporary license to be used for business purposes only, as in driving to work or school or medical appointments. Which in this case, I guess, a medical appointment for Tiger. Apparently, a huge entourage was there in 3 separate cars in case anything went awry. But hopefully, he has his meds under control now. Because, again, alcohol didn't have anything to do, in this case, with him falling asleep behind the wheel. Apparently it was maybe a mix of... So I don't know.
Yesterday I did pull out.
More like, yesterday I fell asleep behind the wheel. Or over the Memorial Day weekend, that is. But anyhow, yeah, again, Tiger claimed it was an unexpected reaction to prescribed medications. I didn't realize the mix of medications had affected me so strongly. Well, yeah, if you fell asleep behind the wheel, of course you're not really going to realize anything. And his arraignment hearing is scheduled for July 5th. Yada yada. And there's this, I don't know, I read this article from The Hill about Tiger Woods, this DUI, and, I guess a growing problem with mixing painkillers, a growing, American painkiller problem, and prescribed drugs. And again, it's kind of sad. A few weeks ago, Chris Cornell, grunge legend from Soundgarden, Audio Slave, in how drugs, I guess, medically prescribed drugs and pain, unfortunately, got the better of him, I guess, and ultimately was kind of what ultimately drove him to suicide last month. And just a bad mix and of too many drugs or painkiller, whatever. And this, again, Prince last year was another one, and apparently more Americans are driving under the influence of prescription medications and illicit drugs. Supposedly, what the police reported that Tiger Woods took basically listed 4 medications, well, according to Woods, that he was taking, that he told the officers: Vicodin, Torix, and then an unidentified sleep agent, which I guess we'll learn more about. But the fact that it's something unidentified, that's a bit of a concern to me. And of course, I understand Woods is still recovering from the whole back surgery thing that's been bothering him in recent years, and it's, I guess essentially hampered his career to the point of no return in my eyes. And the question in recent years has been, will Tiger Woods win another major? Well, like I said, I think we know the answer to that, or at least I've said the answer to that a while ago, as a resounding no. But at this point, you got to question, like, now the question's becoming, will Tiger Woods even play in a major golf tournament anymore?
I hit a few things.
Ever again? I don't think so.
Yesterday I did pull out.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, but you gotta start to wonder, like, is he even gonna play in a major tournament ever again? I mean, who knows? It's obvious his better days are behind him, but you wonder if, like, not even his better days, if his days in golf in general are behind him. So, getting back to the Eagles. Let's get back to the Eagles here a little bit. Of course, we were talking about Carson Wentz. It kind of, soft-spoken. Listen in the first segment to the press conference from the other day. Carson Wentz addressing the media. Kind of his relationship with Nick Foles and some of the things he's working on, his release and yada yada. But it's one of these things. It's like I hear how on the field, he seems to be a take command kind of guy. I don't know. This is just one of these. I don't know. It'd be cool to see him, like, mic'd up by the NFL Network one of these games. Kind of like last year when Doug Peterson was mic'd up. I believe it might have been the Cleveland Browns game, the first game of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Gosh, it went great.
Yeah, and Doug Peterson, you got to, because Doug Peterson too. I mean, he could. I know he's like he's a good players coach and yada yada. Doesn't seem like a kind of guy that's really hard on his players or whatever. And in fact, probably if I remember, like, when he was mic'd up by in that Cleveland Browns game by the NFL Network, it seemed like he was harder, like, in an instant or two. He was harder on the officials than he probably ever has been on his players.
Come on, that's terrible!
but I don't know. Carson Wentz, like, I don't know. It'd just be interesting to see, because just watching a game on TV, I mean, at times you might be able to get a glimpse of, like when you watch Brady, for instance, sometimes, like, he'll get pissed off at something, or Rodgers. You can kind of tell. Sometimes you can kind of tell. I don't know about Carson Wentz, though. Really seen that last season. But it's a whole different ballgame if they're mic'd up, and then, you can, like, hear them in the game. Because I kind of listen to these press conferences with Carson Wentz, and, he's very mild-mannered, and that's all well and dandy. But again, a guy like Fletcher Cox is going to miss OTA, like, seemingly, like, do what he can in a sense. I don't know. Like, other players, it's like you circle that day and you be there. New players there, it's just, again, I don't need to open that whole argument up again. To me, it's just kind of common sense. Base logic. But Carson Wentz, it's a situation where I'm hoping that maybe he'd be like, Fletcher, we kind of need you there. I know they're not mandatory according to the CBA, but, could really use you there. I don't know. Just a little more urgency. Maybe, I don't know, a little less soft-spokenness, and I don't know. That's just me, maybe. Maybe this second year that he gets this under his belt, he starts to maybe get more of a command of this team, of this offense. Helps to have better receiving weapons. And we'll go from there. Maybe he comes a little more alive this season in that regards. We'll see. It's the Tyler Werner Show. We'll be right back for more after this.
Investigators are calling it the heist of the century. The grand robbery of Brady and Belichick's slow-cooked Italian meatballs, committed by some apparently hungry NFL officials who love their balls.
When I came in Monday morning, I was shocked to learn of the news reports about the balls and the process that happened between when they were prepared and went to the officials and went to the game.
As shocked as Belichick was of the news, perhaps Brady, the last man out of the kitchen on that Sunday night, was even more shocked to hear of the news of the theft.
I have a process that I go through. It was the same process that I always go through. When I felt them, they were perfect. I mean, I wouldn't want anyone touching those. I would zip those things up and lock them away, and that's what I thought I was doing.
As Brady and Belichick up the ante on their ball security, you'll just have to pick up a pack of their meatballs the next time you hit the grocery store and enjoy just how perfect these balls really are.
Tom's personal preferences on his ball security are something that he can talk about in much better detail than I could possibly provide.
It's no big news flash that many people, you included, eat as a way to medicate themselves. You can choose to worry about it or not. You can choose to panic about your situation or not. It's clear what you must do in order to make important changes.
5 letters here. RELAX. Relax. We're going to be okay.
In order for you ever to effectively figure out and map how to get to where you want to go, you have to first know exactly where you are starting.
RELAX. Relax.
You have to be willing to change what you're doing. You can change your behavior.
And we're back on the Tyler Werner Show. Close things out here in the last segment. Eagles, OTAs, my bad on... Actually, they are still voluntary. this week. Actually, next week is when some mandatory practices begin. But I guess to be fair, this was actually, still voluntary, I guess, this week. But still, I hear, from Sal Palantonio report how every single player on the New England Patriots, for example, has attended all of these, quote, non-mandatory or voluntary camps. So,
Well, as you know, I'm not on Snapface and all that.
And again, this is a team coming off of a Super Bowl victory, another Super Bowl, 5 Super. So, just goes to show you, it's Tom Brady. In less than 2 months, will be 40 years old. I mean, he's going to go down, to me, and to many, the only quarterback to ever won 5 Super Bowl rings. You put an asterisk next to it or not, or just, I don't know, just look at it as the Patriots are just that good. Tom Brady's that good. Bill Belichick's that good. All right. Take all your Deflategate, Spygate rubbish and shove it, because they're just that good. And they put in the work, and it shows. It shows that every single player attending even these non-mandatory OTAs, that says something. That shows something as a team, as an organization. But nevertheless, this is Thursday. This practice marks the final voluntary practice of the Eagles off-season program that will be open to reporters as organized team activities, for those who didn't know what OTA stood for, come to a close. Next week, the Eagles will hold 3 practices at the NovaCare complex, where attendance will be mandatory and players who are absent can begin to be fined. So, be there so you don't get fined, as maybe Marshawn Lynch might sort of say. But we have Eagles defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, who said late last month in May that he's a big fan of these practices this time of the year. It's, quote, quite honestly my favorite time of the year. It's all about improvement, all about individual improvement without the pressure of having a game come up. Our guys are going to work through the same thing now. They're working on their individual skills. We're working as a defense to try to improve, to add some new wrinkles, trying to get all that stuff together, and it's an exciting time. Like I said, it's our favorite time of the year to work with the players that are here, and that's our focus. Our focus is on the guys that are here, not guys that miss for any reason. All right? And again, I mean, the guys that are here are like everybody or were everybody but 3 players. Well, 3 or 4. They include Donnie Jones in there and Marcus Smith, who, of course, Doug Peterson, forgot to mention the other week ago that Marcus Smith wasn't there. Yeah, he goes to show how much of a presence he has on this team. Maybe he ought to be one of those guys that are there as much as possible to, like Jim Schwartz said, improve on their individual skills, because apparently, he's lacking them. But, he just continues. He'll probably be cut anyway, so, But Matt Lombardo and Elliott Shore-Parks they've been in attendance, and they've been tweeting out some updates. And I know, again, this is guys in shorts, really, out there on the field. But, for those who are interested, I mean, going through here, some of the tweets, I guess go through a little bit of a Twitter input from these guys, and what, maybe some of the things that are being seen out there.
Are you following me on Twitter?
Yeah. Starting at June 5th here with Elliott Shore Parks. Back-to-back interceptions for Wentz. This one on an overthrow, picked off by Jalen Watkins. And then another one tweet, June 1st, Alshon in a Eagles uniform, I guess behind a green screen, I guess, promotional matters. Wentz turns a broken play into long touchdown to Aguilar, who burned Mills. Is that's not some kind of joke, is it? Well, anyhow. By the way, speaking of Nelson Aguilar, apparently he's keeping a chart in his locker room or something, keeping tally of his drops. I guess as I guess as a means to motivate him to, I guess, not drop the football, or to when he has to tally one, like, dang, another drop or whatever. I guess it's kind of like keeping motivational quotes handy. I guess keep a drop tally handy to, don't want to drop any more passes. Albeit in practice, but still. Now this is Cox pointed out he made the Pro Bowl when asked about having a down year. Well, come on. We were all saying the Pro Bowl voting is silly for the most part. It's seriously. Did he really deserve a spot in the Pro Bowl? We watched this season. Come on. I swear he's getting all... Because it's because he's getting paid all this money and the production doesn't even... And then he's like, oh, well, I made the Pro Bowl last year. Well, yeah, you made the Pro... Good for you. And that's skewed. Now, how about make the playoffs? Help lead this defense to make the playoffs. Anyhow, another tweet from Elliott Shore Parks. Carson's new best friends, Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey, standing shoulder to shoulder on the sideline. Let's see, Alshon Jeffrey just mossed Douglas for a touchdown, then got up and he spiked the ball, stared at him as Douglas was on the ground. Okay. Well, that sounds interesting.
Outright!
Matt Labardo tweeted, Carson Wentz. Torrey brings a speed threat. I'm definitely excited. It comes down to how we integrate that into our offense. And then finally, best play of OTAs so far, according to Elliott Shore Parks. Wentz avoids pressure, throws across his body on the run to Alshon Jeffrey for a 40-ish yard touchdown. So, sounds interesting.
Oh, man!
So, yeah, these are some of the things going on, I guess. OTAs. Some of the rumblings. And, of course, one of them, the one we hear about Fletcher Cox here from Elliott Shore Parks is just, I made the Pro Bowl. I mean, come on. How about how you're now back at work? What are you guys doing out there? How are you going to improve this defense? How are you going to make it not the weak, the weak spot on the team? Because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a defense that needs to be better. We don't care about Pro Bowl nonsense. Come on. I mean, wasn't, for crying out loud, who... the other year ago, or maybe it was even last year. So I'm having a total brain fart. Quarterback from the Cincinnati Bengals. Why can't I think of his name right now? But anyhow, like a guy like him will make the Pro Bowl by default. It's like, come on, that's just ridiculous. We know the Pro Bowl, voting sometimes is skewed, and it's about name value. But Fletcher Cox did not play like a Pro Bowler last year, for the most part. That's the bottom line. It's like he's not as hungry. And leave it to him to schedule a vacation, because apparently he couldn't do it any other time. Leave it to him to schedule it during the beginning of OTAs when he's got some new personnel in there, and it's, you would think it's pretty important to get up to speed with those guys. And if you're somebody who breathes football, like you would want a guy getting paid that kind of money on this defense, you be there. It's as simple as that. Simple as that.
I agree.
And, again, this is one of these things. If he doesn't produce this year, like a Pro Bowler, like a guy getting paid that much money, then you better believe that most of us, because a lot of people have been hard on him, but you better believe that everybody's going to be like, Cox, dude, you're not producing. You're not producing like you should be, like you're getting paid to do. So, I don't know. Like, I gotta like how J.J. Watt, for those who haven't heard, the NFL Network, around this time, they always do the top 100 players of 2017, and a lot of it's based on projection of 2017 and kind of based off of what they did recently, like last season. So, for instance, J.J. Watt, I believe he was like in the 38, 35 or something like that. And a guy like J.J. Watt, he's humble. He said, "You know what? No, I only played 3 games last year. It's a joke that I'm on this list." He said, "That's what I want." And a guy like self-motivation, a little bit of humbleness. I mean, he's taking a beating because he's getting double, triple teamed all his career, and still getting to the quarterback and making plays. Even though last year he got hurt, and maybe he's starting to show signs of a little bit of wear and tear. That maybe his best days are behind him in his career. But you know what? To hear that from J.J. Watt, that says something. The guy's humble, and he's still motivated to be better. Whereas Fletcher Cox, like, down season, well, I made the Pro Bowl last year. No. I don't like that. I really don't. And again, I don't like when the Eagles are getting blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was last season, or maybe it was the season before the demise of the Chip Kelly era here. And the Eagles are getting butt whipped by like 5 touchdowns, and Fletcher Cox is out there, yucking it up with Jameis Winston, helping players on the other team up. Give me a break. And you know what? That's to bring it back to Carson Wentz and close things down. That's kind of what I want to see a little more out of Carson Wentz. Don't want to see yucking it up with, not that Carson Wentz has, but I want to see a little more command out of Carson Wentz this year. I want to see him, maybe hear him get a little more comfortable with the media. He seems like a little shy, a little gun shy, I guess. And not that he has to blast the media out there, or whatever. Not that he has to toy with them like Rex Ryan or something. I don't know. But I don't know, just be a little more in charge, so to speak. Little less shy, maybe a little less monotone. That's all. I want to see a little more out of Carson Wentz. We'll see how things pan out here. We got, again, next week, we got mandatory stuff going on here with the Eagles now. And then the Eagles get a little more time off. And then training camp next month. Other than that, again, we'll see how Game 5 with the Predators and the Penguins turn out. Maybe by this time next week, we may very well have the Stanley Cup decided. I have to see when Game 7, if necessary, will be. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I forgot already, but we'll see how that turns out, because looks like, barring an unprecedented miracle for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the NBA Finals have already been decided, and Golden State Warriors will be your 2017 NBA champions. No surprise. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will talk to you next time on the Tyler Werner Show. Everybody have a great week.